Hello, my name is Tim Rand, and I'm doing my annual check-in on my health protocol, particularly celebrating 9 years off of caffeine. And this year, there really haven't been too many major changes to the protocol, just minor changes in each category, and I'll go over those today. I guess the most major development has been the addition of vinegar to my diet or health protocol. And that has, I mentioned it last year, but throughout this year I've been taking vinegar, and it has basically cured my longstanding acid reflux problem, which is for me a major development. And there are actually a few other benefits that I'm going to discuss today. I'm kind of in the middle of a big move this year, so I'm a bit late on this video. Normally I do them at the end of May and it's the end of July, but hopefully things will calm down soon, and I have an office upstairs, so hopefully I can settle down and produce some new content. And I may do things other than health and wellness. In fact, I'm pretty sure I will, once I get settled down, which should be in a few months. So right now, I'm just going to go over each element of the protocol and just say a few words about it. Okay, so first I'll start with caffeine, which I guess is kind of my signature achievement. That's when I started doing these videos. And I'm still off of caffeine after 9 years. There's nothing really new to add. I'm still very happy to be off of caffeine. I will just say a few things. First of all, as I've mentioned many times, quitting caffeine is very hard. If you look at all the videos, and there are many videos on YouTube now about it, it is a very rough thing, particularly in that first year. After that, it gets pretty effortless after the first year. One commenter, though, I thought was kind of interesting. He talked about feeling very sad without caffeine, and I think that's particularly true in the first year of detox. But even after that, you're going to have the normal, I tell myself this all the time, you're going to have the normal biorhythms of life. So there are going to be periods of sadness and periods of happiness. And I think one of the problems with caffeine in particular, and other drugs as well, is you try, in humanity in general, you try to abolish the low periods of life. And although that tends to work, I think over time, the whole system comes kind of like crashing down. And so for me, whenever I'm feeling down or sad or whatever, I just try to say that that's just the normal part of life. And I think the overall bar rises in the long term, but you're still going to have moments of sadness and happiness. And I think just generally you feel better over the long term without caffeine. So, I mean, I'm kind of the, this is a little rambling, but I'm kind of just of the idea that any addiction in the long run is not good for you. And it's better to, if you can, get off of it. And caffeine is a tough one to get off of. And I've showed how to do it on my channel if you're interested. I developed a method to get off of caffeine, and it worked for me. And I would still recommend it. Okay, my next topic is going to be vinegar. And I would say that's kind of the major development for this year's video. So over the past year, I've basically cured my long-standing acid reflux problem by consuming vinegar, roughly about an ounce of vinegar a day. And I would consider this a very major health benefit for me. I think at last year's video, I said I was going to experiment with dosages and things like that. And so I guess over the last year, I've tried apple cider vinegar with the mother. Without the mother, I've tried just vinegar, plain vinegar with juice. which I showed how I mixed up a drink last year, and I've tried apple cider vinegar tablets. And my findings are that they all work pretty much the same. So each has its own benefits. Like sometimes I like to take the pills, like if I'm traveling or something like that. And they all seem to work the same. So I think what we need, there's something beneficial about it. So but me as just one person doing the experimenting isn't enough. I think we need some kind of randomized, double-blind test with placebos and all that to figure out what the situation is. I mean, I'm still of the mindset that it's just simply acetic acid that is like a vitamin, as I mentioned last year. But you need a more comprehensive study to figure out what it is. I think some people mentioned on my video, and I think I mentioned it last year, that it's just adding more acid to your stomach. Some people, I think it's this probiotic in it. I'm of the mind that it's acetic acid, but it definitely it's cured my acid reflux, which I had for like 30 years. And I tried a couple times to go off of it, and my acid reflux kind of came back. So I think humanity needs like a steady supply of acetic acid in their diet. Also, I mean, I've been noticing just like on condiments like mustard and mayonnaise and ketchup and relish, they all have a little bit of vinegar and many other things, which makes me think that there is this taste sensation that's telling us that we need this as like a vitamin, but I don't think we're getting enough of it. So that's kind of my thinking about that. Also, I found even with the vinegar, I occasionally, I have this whole health protocol, but occasionally I go off the health protocol, with the exception of caffeine. I try to definitely not take any caffeine except for decaf on rare occasions. But with the sugar and everything else, I mean, I have these celebration days like my birthday or whatever. And on those days, if I'm drinking a little bit or having sugar or like potato chips or pizza or something like that, I will still get acid reflux even with the vinegar. So I've taken my meds, acid reflux meds, maybe like 4 times in the past year. Whereas before I had to take them every day. So vinegar hasn't completely abolished it, but on a day-to-day basis, when I'm following my protocol, fairly carefully, just take a little vinegar and I'm good to go. Also, there's a great benefit of vinegar with, it kind of minimizes your desire for sugar, and I'll talk about that when I get to the sugar section. Okay, so I guess I'll talk about sugar now, since I ended my last segment with that. So one part of my protocol is just trying to minimize sugar, and I think I've mentioned in prior years that it's been kind of harder for me than other things. And I want to talk a little bit about vinegar and sugar, because I found in the past year, when I've been taking this vinegar, that it's reduced my appetite in general, and in particular reduced my desire for sugar. And in the past year, my weight has actually gone down more, so I'm actually below 180 now. And I think it's largely because of, I think the vinegar has helped because it's reduced my appetite and cut my desire for sugar. And also, I just found, I talked about the various forms of vinegar I took. I found when I take the sugar in liquid form versus the vinegar in liquid form rather than pills, it actually reduces my my appetite and sugar cravings even more. So that's about it for the sugar. Try to reduce sugar, and vinegar has helped. Okay, now let me talk about fasting. So this year, I'm back to fasting once a week. I think last year I was fasting twice a week, but I think that was largely because of COVID and the gym was shut down and the pool was shut down. Now that those things are open again, I'm I've cut my fasting back to once a week. So I do that, I fast once a week, and I still try to eat between like a 8 and 4 hour window every day. So I do kind of those two forms of intermittent fasting, eating within a window during the day, and fasting once a week. And as I mentioned before, my weight has kind of gone down a little this year. So I'm around a little bit below 180, which is good. And I mean, I guess just one minor development, when you fast, the problem is when you do eat, or at least for me, I kind of get tired afterwards because my digestive system has to start working. So I get a little sleepy, which I don't like during the day, which is like during working hours or wherever when you're supposed to be active. So one slight change I've made is during my eating window, I tend to eat a kind of light at the beginning, which would be breaking my fast, I guess. So breakfast or lunch. I usually just drink a smoothie or something that's kind of easy to digest. I mean, I've just been experimenting with this more recently. So I'm more active during the day, and then when I eat my main meal at night, I eat that, and then I get a little tired after that. Yeah, that's one thing about fasting, because you're generally, when there's no food in your stomach, for me, I'm more, all the blood can go to my brain and I can think more rationally, but when my digestive system is working hard, I get a little sleepy. So I'm just modifying the fast so that during my waking hours, I can just concentrate on mental things. Okay, so as far as exercise goes, now that COVID has kind of settled down, or at least hopefully, the pool and the gym have opened. So in the last, 4 or 5 months or 6 months or something, I've been exercising more, which has just helped in general. But it was amazing how long, I think that those things just opened kind of recently. I can't quite remember, but it was amazing for the COVID period. For the longest time, I didn't exercise. So that is back, and I'm trying to do that slowly. Okay, also one element of my health protocol is daily chronicling of my weight and activities and things like that. And I still do that. I think that's a great way to just keep yourself focused. And several times during the year, you kind of go off of it. And if you're just chronicling it every day, and for me, it's just like brushing my teeth. I do that every morning. It motivates you and keeps you on track. And so, like, this is July. Maybe I'll do, I'll try to put a screenshot of that up. But as you can see on the screenshot, if I put it up, I got down to 178, which was, I haven't been really since college almost. And as you can see, I ate a lot of ice cream and I didn't exercise that much this month because I'm in the middle of a move. But anyway, I continue to daily chronicle, and that's helped me. Okay, so the final element of the protocol is vitamin D. And I used to live in New England, and we've moved down south, so there's a lot more sun here. So it's easier to get sun, although maybe it's too much sun, so I have to be a little bit careful about not getting too much. But I'm still a big fan of getting vitamin D and sunlight in general. One thing I kind of learned this year, I joined Planet Fitness. It was a local gym here, and they have an infrared light system in their gym, which I had never heard of. So I did a little research on that. And to me, that's interesting because, there's benefit of vitamin D from ultraviolet sun, but there's also this new thought that infrared light also provides some kind of benefit. not related to vitamin D, but another benefit of, of light. And so I'm still kind of the idea that the best way to get your vitamin D is the natural way, which is through sunlight, limited exposure to sunlight. Like for me, I try to get like 20 minutes a day. Because not only will you get vitamin D, but you will get the full spectrum of light. You'll also, which is ultraviolet light, you'll also get the infrared light. And there's just recent, studies or thought that is another beneficial thing, independent of vitamin D. Another benefit of, the full spectrum of light that we're receiving from the sun. So I'm still a fan of that, and I'm still getting vitamin D. Okay, so that's my update for the year. Thanks so much for watching. I still get some people watching my videos. I think I got 700 or 800 views last year, which is pretty good, I guess. And I've done this whole health protocol. I've added a few features, tweaked it here and there over the past 10 years, I guess. And I feel like I'm in good health for my age. I'm 61. I feel pretty good health. Very good health. And maybe I'll show my old picture, and let me see if you can see. And so here I am right now. I mean, I could still probably even lose a few more pounds, but in general, I feel pretty good. And I'm hoping now that we've moved in here, or over the next few months we'll move in here, I'm going to start doing new topics outside of health and wellness. I was thinking education and economics are two other areas that I'm interested in. And I think I have some interesting spins on things that are at least worth kicking around. So that's it for this year, and I hope everything's going well with everyone. Thank you.